Hi there. Hope you're having a great day. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We'll go ahead and get started. Today for class, you'll either need 2 yoga blocks. You might need some firm, you could also use firm pillows or a yoga bolster. You could also use like 5 or 6 blankets stacked on top of each other. So if you have some time, you could also use couch pillows. They're just improv. You just need something to lift your chest so that your heart is open and your arms will be extended out to the side. So go ahead and pause the video and grab what you need, either 2 yoga blocks, some firm pillows. You could even use soft pillows and just have a bunch of them, or a yoga bolster. So, okay, now we'll go ahead and get started. If you have the blankets or the pillows or even a yoga bolster, you'll want to have it long ways like this on your mat. So you'll just lay it down towards the top of your mat, and then you'll back your bum up so that it's close to the bolster, the blankets, or the pillows. And then you'll just lie down, draping your back over it, extending your arms out to the side. Palms will point up. Head rests on the blankets or pillows or bolsters. You can have legs out straight. You can have knees bent, soles of feet together. You can let your knees knock in, separate your feet wide. You could also have the soles of your feet touching and let your knees open wide. So this is the first option. I would say this is a more restorative version of supported fish, which is the pose that we're in. So if you're in this pose with your blankets or your props, go ahead and stay there. If you have yoga blocks, go ahead and grab them. And you can stay on the ground. I'm just going to stand to show you. One block will go in between your upper back, and the other block will go at your head, at the back of your head, on the back of your head. So you'll almost set up like a capital T, a disconnected capital T on your mat. So I'll show you here. So you'll have one block lengthwise, that is horizontal, and then the other block will go vertical, not connected to that block, so slightly disconnected. There's some space there. And then you'll go ahead and lie back. You want the first block to be at your upper back, so in between your shoulder blades. And the second block will be at your head. And you may have to do some adjusting, but don't worry, nobody's there judging or watching. And then once you get there, extend your arms out to the side, palms will point up, and you have any of those options with your legs, legs out straight, knees bent, soles of feet to the ground. Separate your feet wide, maybe let your knees knock in. Or you can bring the soles of your feet together to touch and let your knees fall open. You can play with all 4 of those positions and just really feel what feels good. We'll be here for a little bit of time. And once you get there, allow your upper back to melt into your prop. If you're on blocks, imagine that your shoulders are hugging your block. If you're on blankets, pillows, or a bolster, imagine your upper back melting into the prop. Really let your torso be heavy, heavy, heavy here. Soften your jaw. Relax your tongue. Maybe even close your eyes. With your eyes closed, even soften your gaze. Relax the space behind your eyeballs. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Soften your forehead and your scalp. And now keep all that soft. Relax your arms, your shoulders, your fingers. Relax your hips, your legs, your ankles, and even your toes. And just notice what your body feels like here and now. This is a pretty vulnerable position. The heart is super exposed and open right now. So just know that lots of things could come up. All sorts of emotions. All sorts of tension. So do your best to soften. With each inhale, allow your belly to expand. And each time you exhale, let your belly fall. And each time you inhale, expand your belly, fill up your lungs. And each time you exhale, allow your belly to soften, emptying your lungs. Take a few more rounds of breath this way. Staying soft. And then as you're ready, there is no nice way to get out of this posture. So take your time. You can just sit up, you can roll to one side. But we'll come to have a seat on our bottoms. So you can sit on those blankets, those pillows, that bolster, or those blocks. Lots of options. And then we'll come into crisscross applesauce. You can also extend your legs out straight if you'd like. And now I'm going to use my blocks because I'm seated onto something. They'll just go right outside of my thighs. And then I just have short arms, that's why I'm using them. But maybe you have long arms, so you might not need them. Or you have proportionate arms, I should say. I just have abnormally short arms, which is fine. I love my arms. So take your right hand outside of your right thigh onto the ground or on a yoga block. And then lift your left arm up in line with your ear. Inhale, lift your heart. And as you exhale, take the side body stretch. Squeeze both shoulders in towards your spine. And send your breath into your left side body. On an inhale, come on up. Come back through center, neutral, a place of neutrality. And now this time, place your left hand outside of your left thigh or on a yoga block and reach your right arm up in line with your ear. On an inhale, lift your rib cage. And as you exhale, take your side body stretch. Squeeze both shoulders in and send your breath into your right side body. On an inhale, come on up. Come back to neutral. If you're utilizing blocks, you can just set them off to the side. We won't really need them for class today other than for the first pose if you use them. And then go ahead and place your right hand to your right hip, point your elbow back, and take your left hand, grab onto your right thigh. On an inhale, extend your spine, and as you exhale, twist your torso to the right, but keep your gaze over your left shoulder. Now pull your belly button in towards your spine, and try to just twist in your upper and your mid back, keeping your low back and your hips square towards your screen. Maybe take another inhale, and as you exhale, you twist slightly more. On your next exhale, go ahead and untwist, come back to neutral. And then switch sides, left hand to left hip, elbow points back. This time take your right hand to your left thigh. Tone your low belly now, and then lift your spine, lengthen your spine. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, twist to the left, gaze over your right shoulder. Now the goal here is to keep your hips and your low back square, and just twist in your upper and your mid back. Brain fart. Now tone your low belly slightly more, inhale. And as you exhale, maybe you twist slightly more. Keep your gaze over your right shoulder. On your next exhale, gently untwist and take your time, make your way into table pose at the center of your mat. So today we're opening up through the front body. So we already opened up through the chest. We'll open up through the fronts of the hips, the sides of the hips as well. But we're not going to do any down dogs or any flows today. We will do one flow, but it'll be a modified plank. So it'll be, this class is just designed to also show you modifications for other times when we do things through class. So I'll call them out when we get there. So come into table pose at the center of your mat. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You can tuck or untuck your toes, whatever feels good to your body. Do make sure that your hands are separated, fingers separated evenly, even pull your thumbs back. On an inhale, round your back like a cat, pull your chin in towards your chest, and scoop your tailbone forward. As you exhale, cow pose, concave your spine, squeeze your shoulders in, lift your hips and your gaze. Inhale, round your back, cat pose, press the floor away, scoop your tailbone forward. And exhale, cow pose, shoulders come in, hips move up, and gaze goes straight ahead. Inhale, cat pose, press the floor away. And exhale, squeeze your shoulders in, cow pose. 2 more rounds. Inhale, cat pose, bring your chin towards your chest. Exhale, tilt your gaze, cow pose. Last round, inhale, cat pose. And exhale, cow pose. Come back to a neutral spine. And then turn your hands out so your fingertips point to the side. And do separate your fingers evenly here, even pull your thumbs back and just start to sway side to side. Getting some lubrication through your wrists. Okay, now come back through center. Fingers point straight ahead, and then come back to have a seat on your heels, or even you can come back to crisscross applesauce. Bring your hands out to the side and then tuck your thumbs in like you're making the number 4 on your hands, and then clasp your thumb with all of your fingers, and then just start to take wrist circles. You don't have to keep your arms out though. You can bring your arms down by your sides, and just be sure to move in both directions with your wrists. And then go ahead and release and start to flick your fingers. So your thumb pad is moving onto your fingertips, and you're just flicking your fingers, and then just shake out your wrists. Okay, one more table pose here. Actually, we'll be in table pose most of class, so that's why if at any point you need to do anything with your wrists, take any one of those that we just did. So now extend your left leg back behind you, but have your toes touching the mat, your toes tucked under. And then reach your right arm, your right hand towards the top of your mat, and come up high onto your fingertips like that Addams Family hand. And now you can stay here or float your left leg up, reach your right arm out in front of you, tag your opposite arm, opposite leg. Now tone your low belly and squeeze your shoulder in, your right shoulder in towards your spine. Now lift up through the back of your left thigh so your glutes engaged. Keep that, and then drop your left hip slightly so both hips are in one line. Tone your low belly some more, find your breath. And when you're ready, release, right hand, left leg, come back to neutral. And now go ahead and switch sides. Left leg comes back, toes are tucked under, toes to the mat. And then reach your left hand towards the top of your mat, come up high onto your fingertips. Now tone your low belly here already. You can stay just like this, you're getting all the benefits. Or float your right leg up, left arm up, plug your left arm in, lift up through the back of your right thigh so your glutes engaged. Keep that, and then drop your right hip slightly so both hips are in one line. Tone your low belly some more and find your breath. When you're ready, release. Come back to neutral, come back to table pose. Okay, so go ahead and come up onto your knees for a moment and give your wrists a break. We're not working any down dogs today, and like I said, there'll be modified flows, but there is only one of them. We won't even be standing in class today, so that's kind of nice. We are gonna move into a lunge series right now, and normally we come into lunges from downward facing dog or even stepping back from a forward fold at the top of our mat. But today we're just gonna work in table pose. I just wanted to show you other options so that you know you don't always have to come into downward facing dog. It can be really taxing on the shoulders, the wrists, the upper back, even the mid back, and the hips, the hamstrings. Actually it's an inversion because your heart is above your head, so it's a tough pose. So I just wanted to show you we can do all kinds of things from table pose. So once you've got your wrists kind of stretched out again, if you need to flick them out or flick them or any of the circles, take what you need, come back into table pose. So when you're ready, step your right foot forward in between your hands. And here, make sure your right knee is above your ankle and make sure your toes point straight ahead. On an inhale, lift your torso, bring your hands to your right thigh. Engage your left glute, and start to work your hips down and forward. Now, press your hands into your right thigh, almost like you want to move the flesh of your right thigh forward, away from your right hip crease. Now keep that and move your right hip back just a bit. Soften your shoulders and breathe. Lift your chin parallel to the floor, maybe even lift your gaze slightly. On an inhale, lift your hips, frame your front foot with your hand. Walk your left hand up and out so it's underneath your shoulder, and then turn your right toes open 30 degrees. Bring your right hand to your right thigh. Now engage your left glute, maybe work your hips down and forward, and then again, press the flesh of your right thigh forward, relaxing your shoulders. Be sure not to sink into your left shoulder, but move it in towards your spine, and feel the stretch through your groin and through the front of your left hip. Relax your jaw and find your breath. On an inhale, come on up. Release your right hand down. Come back through neutral. And for a moment, just notice right to left, left to right. And take your time, step your left foot forward in between your hands. Again, your left knee is above your left ankle and your toes point straight ahead. On an inhale, lift your torso, bring your hands to your left thigh this time. Engage your right glute and start to work your hips down and forward. Now this time press, it's almost like you want to press the flesh of your left thigh forward. Keep that and then move your left hip back so both hips are in one line. Soften your shoulders. Find your breath. Lift your chin. You can even lift your gaze. On an inhale, lift your hips. Release your hands. Turn your left toes open about 30 degrees. And then walk your right hand up and out so it's underneath your shoulder. Take your left hand to your left thigh. Engage your right glute this time. Work your hips down and forward and press your left hand into your left thigh. Again, almost like you want to move the flesh away from your hip crease. Press the flesh of the top of your thigh away. Now here, be mindful of this right shoulder. Tendency is for the right shoulder to pop forward. Can you plug your right shoulder in towards your spine and find your breath? On an inhale, come on up. Release both hands and come back into table. Now walk your knees back slightly and come into a modified plank. So you're in plank pose with your knees down to the ground. If you want to take a regular plank pose, be my guest, but I won't be. And now scoop your tailbone up. So it's almost like you want your belly button and your low ribs to move towards each other. You might even find a shake here. And not a milkshake, but a shake in your body. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, lower all the way down. And as always, one at a time, walk your feet back so you create space through the fronts of your hips. Press down through the tops of your feet so much that your kneecaps lift off of your mat. Press your tailbone down and squeeze your shoulders in. On an inhale, lift your heart. This is Cobra Pose. We'll do 2 more. As you exhale, slowly release. Inhale, lift your heart, Cobra Pose. Even lift the base of your skull. And exhale, release. Last one. Inhale, Cobra Pose. And exhale, release. Now, stack your palms on your yoga mat and then rest your forehead there. Let your ankles, your hips, your shoulders, everything be heavy for just a moment of rest. And now we'll do some stretching through the quads. Go ahead and roll onto your right side and place your right hand underneath your head. Left hand comes in front of your body. It's like a kickstand. And then bend your right knee back behind you so that the outer edge of your right foot is to the floor. Left leg is still up. And then bend your left knee, heel toward glute. Reach around with your left hand, grab for your foot or your ankle, and then work your knee down and away from you. Press your tailbone forward, and then try to squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. If they touch, great. If they don't worry about it. It's just the intention. Take your time, slowly release. Come back through center, come back to neutral. And then go ahead and roll to your left side. Left hand comes to the side of your head, right hand rests in front of your body as a kickstand. And go ahead and bend your left knee, heel is just, ankle is just in line with your knee. And then bend your right knee, reach around with your right hand, grab for your foot or your ankle, and then press your tailbone forward. Feel the stretch through the front of your right hip. Now the goal here is to get your inner thighs, your knees to touch, but as you can see, mine do not. It is just the simple intention that will get you there one day. When you're ready, go ahead and release. Take your time, press yourself up into a seat. I call this a Z-sit. So this is a modification for pigeon. So if we ever do pigeon in class and you're like, I hate this pose, this is for you. So I'm gonna come slightly slanted, so I'm gonna catty corner myself here, but you can stay facing your screen. You'll bring your right shin, bring your right shin parallel to the short edge of your mat, knee is bent, and then you'll extend your left leg back behind you, knee is also bent. So you're on the outer edge of your right foot, inner edge of your left foot, and then go ahead and bring your hands in front of your right shin. On an inhale, lift your heart. As you exhale, maybe you fold over your front leg, maybe crawl your hands out forward, and your head can come to or towards the floor. 4 deep breaths here. Take your time, slowly press yourself up, and then switch sides. Left shin comes parallel to the short edge of your mat, knee bent, right leg swings back behind you, knee is bent, outer edge of left foot is to the ground, inner edge of right foot is to the ground. Left leg's in front, right leg's in back. Place your hands in front of your left shin. Inhale, lift your heart. And as you exhale, fold over your left thigh, extending your arms out straight, maybe bringing your forehead to or toward the floor. 4 deep breaths. And this is our last pose, seated. We'll move into 2 more poses after this, but they'll both be reclined, taking us into a short but sweet Shavasana. On an inhale, gently lift. Take your time and come to lie down onto your back, however you get there. And once you get onto your back, have your knees bent, soles of feet to the ground, and just start to work windshield wipers, lowering your knees to the left, lowering your knees to the right, taking your time, side to side. When you're ready, come back up through center to neutral. Extend your legs out straight, reach your arms up overhead, take a full body stretch. Reach your fingertips and your toe tips in opposite directions. And then bend your knees in toward your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, recline child's pose, rocking side to side, giving your low back a nice massage. And as you're ready, take any additional movements your body might be requesting of you. Otherwise, open yourself up for your final resting pose, pose of repose, Shavasana. Close your eyes and relinquish all control of your breath. I'll call you back as soon as it's time, but for now, please enjoy your rest. This is Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Turn your head slowly, gently, side to side. Feel free to reach both arms up overhead for one more full body stretch. And roll to whichever side of your body is calling to you here and now, using your bottom arm as a pillow. Before moving on with the rest of your day, I invite you to call to mind one thing you have in your life here and now that you can be truly and deeply grateful for. Take a deep breath into that, and maybe carry that with you throughout the rest of your day. Take your time and slowly press yourself up into a seat to face your screen. Feel free to rest your hands on your thighs or even bring your palms together at your heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your sacred time, and thank you for practicing yoga with me today. As always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, or points of clarification, please reach out. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.